I just realized when I go out there and date, when they ask the question, do you want kids? I have no idea what to tell them. So my question for you is, I asked one of my male friends recently, he's a musician, and I was like, hey, you decided not to have kids. I don't know what to do, and I'm about to be 36, and I need to figure this out, so I have a plan for the future.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me hear your perspective. And the reason the reason I'm confused about it and conflicted about it is because I'm very attached to this podcast, and I'm very attached to music, and I don't want to lose that. So I asked my friend, and he was like, your life is going to go completely downhill if you have kids. He's like, but I could be projecting my opinion.
Does he have kids?
No.
Okay.
So how could he know? But
yeah, that's I would have been the person that would have had opinion on this, like toward having kids before, but it's like it really does change everything. So
is it possible? I mean, you are a creative and you're still out there doing it, but you also have a wife.
Yeah.
The difference for me is I'm a woman, and I think the woman typically is the caregiver, not always. So I'm like, would this even be possible for me?
It's tough. Like it's weird. Like you have to, have to find like, do I want kids? Which it's like, it is a tough thing. Like there are some people that are like, I've known I wanted kids my whole life and never changed. Like, but then I do have some friends. I have friends that were like, we wanted kids, and then they end up hating their kids. And you're like, which is like, I shouldn't say hate their kids, but they don't like they don't like the way their life went. It's like, whereas I always knew I wanted kids. And then once I had one, I've leaned into like, it's the most fun thing ever. But it's like, I still understand. Like I have a good friend of mine, him and his wife just decided, they're like, we don't know what we want. He's 38, she's 34, 35. And she was like, well, let me freeze my eggs. Let's freeze your, it's not, I mean, I think it's expensive. So that sucks. Like there's like a big price barrier, but it's like, if you do potentially want that, cause they were like, they got married late. They were always a couple that was like, marriage is a sham. Yeah. And then all their friends got married. They've been together forever. And they're like, well, we love each other. Like, we should do this. They knew the financial benefits of it and everything. And then I'm glad that they applied that to kids too. Cause I think they started to see like, some of our friends that were on the fence about if they wanted kids or not have them, and then it was great. So they're like, all right, well, we might want that one day.
It's so scary.
It is. It's the scariest thing ever. But then it's also like there's so much onus put on like people have to have kids, and I fully believe now having one that it is not for everyone.
Okay.
But that's a hard thing to come to. You're like, is it for me? It's unfortunately one of those things where some people don't know until they have a kid. Is it for them? Oh sorry, I'm like going too deep, but it's
I need to hear this.
But it's like these are the things you need to think about. But I can say from experience, and like going back to like from the creative side, you just have to find time to do the things you want to do. It's like your life does get hectic, but I'll make sure 3 days in a row that it's like I've done everything I need to do. Like the house is in order. Like I've done my day job. I can now, once my daughter's asleep, go out to an open mic and I can do this. Or it's the nice thing is like now I'm working on the balance of like still wanting to pursue stand-up comedy, but like I know these are the formidable years where I can really mess up a kid's brain if I'm not doing the right thing.
So okay, now
sorry, I can go off on a tangent.
No, this is therapy for me right now because I just realized I'm going to be 36. When I go out dating, my friends who are my age told me, they're like, you're going to get that question soon because people at this age don't want to waste time.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God, I better figure this out.
Well, and I think it's to be open and honest with somebody. And unfortunately, it's going to it could be a couple people don't like your answer, but like, it's not a bad thing to say, I don't know what if I want kids. Yeah. But now more than ever, you have the option to be like again, freezing eggs or adoption, whatever it is down the line. Cause you do get to that point people don't talk about enough where like you're in your mid 30s and everyone, there's like looming thing of like, women, there's a shelf life sometimes for if they can have kids. So
there's a character trait about me that I'm concerned heavily that this might not mix well with kids. It's gonna sound
that I hate kids.
I'm gonna sound like a Nazi. I detest incompetence.
Okay.
Does that go away? Because you're raising an incompetent person. You need to teach them everything.
It is. I'm so
sorry. That sounds so bad.
No, it's true.
I'm impatient with people that need too much assistance.
It makes you relearn like the ways you try to teach somebody or like mold somebody. Like there are times with that where like I'll be like, why aren't you understanding this concept? And then I have to be like, oh yeah, you have only been on this earth for 3 years. you've never seen anything outside of like South Jersey and a little bit, you've traveled once. Like, I'm like, I'm still learning at 38.
Yeah.
So it's weird. Like, I have to like constantly remind myself. And then it's just like finding like a structure. Like, all right, well, here's the end result of how I want my kid to be. What do I have to do to get to that point? So like now we're dealing with like, I constantly ask my daughter, I'm like, you even listening to me? And she goes, uh-huh. And then I'm like, repeat back what I said. And she's like, what? And then that like makes me so pissed off. And I'm like, all right, well, clearly I wasn't communicating clearly enough, or I wasn't eliminating outside, distractions. But it's like, I see that in her and I'm like, oh, that's me too. Like,
I hope so. If I do have kids, I hope that it makes me become more patient with them, because I don't want to ruin them and make them hate themselves, because I'm constantly like, oh, God.
Yeah.
Like,
no, it is. It's like, you learn to like, there are times where I'm like, I've been trying to put her to bed for an hour, and it's like, and I know it's like, look, if you just lay down, you're going to fall asleep, but there's a fight, and I have like a book, and I'm like, I could throw this book through the wall right now and get some of this frustration out. I was like, and then that'll forever be in her mind. So it's like you start to think more of like before you do something, before you blow up.
Good thing, then.
So it is. It 100% makes you reassess how you do everything. So it's like, I will say, giving up drinking lent to having a kid a lot.